Alright, welcome to Condorcet's Paradox. So, I'm your professor today, Kenzie, and we're going to learn about Condorcet's Paradox. So, basically, this paradox predicts instability in outcomes, and is typically seen when legislators are voting on certain policies within our Congress. So, anybody can propose a different idea at any time, correct?
Yes.
Yes. And this makes it almost impossible to concretely decide upon something that is in the best interest of everyone because everyone keeps bringing up new proposals. So, each person has intransitive principles, and this is in violation of the transitive property, which we've learned in middle school, where if A is greater than B and B is greater than C by the transitive property, A is greater than C. However, his paradox suggests that C can be greater than A because of a cycle of preferences. So sometimes there just is no best answer to the situation. So over here, I will create a scenario in terms of legislators voting on things. So me and my two good friends, Bernie, me, and Trump, are all going to show our preferences for certain policies. And the whole point that each of us are trying to get is to make sure that our top priority is the one that is addressed first and the one that is considered. So let's say that Bernie's number one issue is abortion, and these are the preferences in order. His next one is women's health, and his last one is immigration. My top one is women's health, my next one's immigration, my last one's abortion. This is a fake demonstration. And this is not factual, but Trump's number one issue is immigration. His next one is obviously women's health, and his last one is good old abortion. So, if you look at this, each policy has all three 1, 2, 3 spots. So therefore there's a tie. Did I mess it up? I do that all the time. All right, there. Thank you for correcting me. So, what needs to happen is someone in the agenda setting power, which is typically the Speaker of the House, gets to decide what order of preferences we're going to consider first. So, it's very important to understand that with this type of agenda setting power, you can manipulate the situation to favor your priority. So, if I were the Speaker of the House, I want to make sure that women's health is the number one thing that we're going to vote on first. So I'm going to play immigration versus abortion first because I know that the final will include my top priority. And I know that mine will always come above both of these. So if we have immigration versus abortion, abortion is above immigration, but immigration is above abortion twice. So immigration will come before abortion. Next, we have immigration versus women's health. Women's health beats it there, and women's health beats it there. So we know that women's health is going to be decided upon first before immigration. However, as you can see, we can manipulate the situation to any one of these preferences. So we could always put immigration versus women's health first, and we can see that women's health will win twice in the first round. And so it'll go women's health versus abortion in the second round. And it's all just a matter of which preferences you pick first. So that is part of his paradox, because considering that the transitive property is one thing greater than another, that thing greater than another thing, doesn't mean that your very first preference is greater than your very last preference. There's just not always the best answer, and it's hard for democracy to come together to choose the best answer for everyone because there's always an order of preferences. So do you think that you can replicate this paradox on easier terms?
Sure.
All right. I'll erase this for you.
Thanks. Okay. So there's 3 people in our household, and we're deciding what type of pet to get. Let's say I prefer dogs over cats over rabbits. and this person prefers cats over rabbits over dogs. And this person prefers rabbits over dogs over cats. So if I am number 1 and I want dogs to be the priority and I want dogs to come out on top, I'm gonna set the cats versus the rabbits up against one another. And because cats will come out on top 2 out of 3 times, cats would be that finalist. And if you set up the cats versus the dogs, and the dogs would win 2 out of 3 times, and therefore my option would be prioritized and dogs would come out on top.
Good. So given all of this information, do you think that there should be more parties in our government?
No, because more parties would allow more opportunities for the agenda setter to manipulate the agenda enough for their priorities to be prioritized over others.